Welcome back, everybody, to Even Your Dynasty Show.
We just got breaking news in.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Even Your Dynasty Show. We're going to talk some minor leagues today. This is going to be our weekly update. These are for the games that were played between April 29th and May 4th. We're going to just hop right into it today. Lots of good action down on the farm. There were some top prospects that really stood out this week, including their number one. So we're going to run through it, starting with Sacramento. They went 2-4 versus Reno. Number two prospect, Marco Luciano, 4 for 19, 2 home runs, 5 walks, 7 strikeouts, 2 stolen bases. He's kind of been in this same spot, it feels like, for most of the year. Not hitting for a huge average. You look at his OPS, so it's kind of getting up there a little bit. It's creeping up towards 800. If you go off a WRC plus, he's actually got a 112 WRC plus, meaning he's 12% better than the league average in the PCL. So that's a plus. That factors in things like, park factor and all that, because the River Cats are one of the few teams that doesn't actually play at a super crazy elevation in the PCL. So he's actually having a solid year. The walk rate is way up. I think it's at like 16 or so percent right now. It's higher than it has been in past years. Strikeout rate's a bit higher than you want. It's around 29%. But what I'm noticing right now is he's been way more aggressive on, when he has count leverage. Those situations where in past years I felt like he's been overly passive. He's actually been out there trying to do some damage. And he already has 6 home runs on the year and 21 RBIs, which, RBIs are opportunistic, but if you just kind of pace it out, AAA plays a 150 game season. If you pace it out, he's on a 27 home run pace and a 95 RBI pace. So hopefully he can get the average up a bit. It's like 227 right now. I think ideally get him over 250 with the power production that he's shown. And we're going to be feeling pretty good going into next year about, hopefully giving him an opportunity. But in the meantime, let him stay down in Sacramento. Defensively, he's a work in progress in left field. He made his 4th error of the year. It's been kind of hit or miss out there with his defense. On routine stuff, he looks fine. He's got a good arm still. He still has that shortstop arm. But it's you can tell he's learning the position kind of on the fly. So we'll just give him time and see what happens. Number 3 prospect, Carson Whisenhunt, bounced back. He threw 7 innings, which I don't think I saw that a single time last season out of any Giants starter in the minor leagues. And we saw it twice this week out of 2 different people. So Carson Whisenhunt with 7 innings, 2 earned runs, 6 hits, no walks, 7 strikeouts. Through 80 pitches, 61 for strikes. Phenomenal start from Carson. Love seeing the strikes. Love seeing the 0 walks. Those are the things I like to see out of these starters. 2 earned runs. One of them was a home run he gave up in the 7th inning. You could tell they were trying to push him a little deeper into that game, which is fine. It's still a great start out of him. As always, fastball changeup were kind of the bread and butter for him. He's been mixing the slider here and there. It's a bit of a work in progress, as I've kind of mentioned in past videos, but it's good to see that you can tell they're trying to properly develop these guys. Number 7 prospect, Grant McCray, 4 for 23, a home run, a double, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts. He also had a walk-off walk-off single on Sunday that would have been extra bases had it not been a walk-off. He ripped it down the right field line. Overall, the strikeouts, that's just the main thing with Grant. And the rest of his game's going to come around. I feel pretty confident in that. Power potential is always there. The speed's always there. The glove's always there. The arm is great in center field. It's just put the ball in play. Number 8 prospect, Trevor McDonald, 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 6 hits, no walks, 3 strikeouts, 76 pitches, 50 of them for strikes. Much cleaner outing than last week's. Last week, he still ended up throwing well if you just looked at the numbers, but he threw less than 50% strikes in that outing, walked a handful of guys. This one, it didn't feel like he was fighting his stuff. It felt like he was much more in control of his game. Number 9 prospect, Mason Black, he actually started 2 games this week. And this is one where it was actually really impressive to see. So the first start, 4 and a third, 6 earned runs, 6 hits, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts through 85 pitches, 53 for strikes. Against the same lineup, which is the Reno Aces are the Arizona Diamondbacks AAA team. They have a really good offense. A lot of good hitters up and down. Jordan Lawler is down there. Blaze Alexander is down there. They have a couple of their big name prospects are in AAA right now. So these guys got to face Mason Black a second time last week. And in his second outing, he went 7 innings, 1 earned run, 3 hits, no walks, 7 strikeouts, 84 pitches, 54 for strikes. So came back in a second time around against those guys and threw the ball really well, which is really tough to do. So the first one was a bit of a clunker, but good for Mason Black, bounced back in a big way in the second start. Number 17 prospect, Carson Ragsdale, 2 innings pitched, 5 earned runs, 3 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Number 24 prospect, Carson Seymour. This was kind of his first really truly bad outing for him this season. And even after this, his ERA is right at 3, basically. But 4 innings pitched, 5 earned runs, 4 hits, 4 walks, 7 strikeouts, 90 pitches, 54 of them for strikes. Kyle Harrison, 5 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 6 hits, no walks, 7 strikeouts, 80 pitches, 55 for strikes. And he also got called back up. The Giants designated Lou Trevino for assignment. I think this morning, actually. Today, I'm recording this Monday night. They brought him up. So I'm going to just comment on the start itself, though. I'm not a fan of them, putting him in the bullpen in the major leagues. It feels like wasted development time personally, but we'll see if it's just a short-term thing or if they're going to do with him what they've kind of done with Hayden Birdsong. But for his start that he made with Sacramento, really impressive. He did not give up a lot of hard contact in that game. The 1 earned run he gave up was due to a ball lost in the lights. And of the 6 hits he gave up, one was the aforementioned ball that Basabi lost in the lights, and 3 of those hits were infield singles that just balls that the defender got to, and they just couldn't get the guy at first. And it was a really dominant start, even though the hits and everything don't necessarily reflect that fully. But he threw the ball really well, threw it for strikes. His slider, he got 2 sliders right at the end of the game that were really sharp, got swing and misses. I think those were the only 2 whiffs he got on those all game. I still see him get under it a lot. He leaves it hanging out arm side off the plate, usually a little bit up in the zone. You can tell he's just getting under it. So it's not as sharp. He does use it to steal some strikes here and there. I think on the whole, it looks a bit better than last season's. I don't think it's necessarily a great pitch. Until he can start commanding it better, I'm not going to think it's a really plus pitch. But it's an improvement over what we saw in 2023 or 2024, in my opinion. Now, the other big news is the velocity is back up. And it's harder than any game he's thrown at the pro level as far as average velocity goes. So that's a good sign. As I've mentioned many times, I think the velocity has been kind of the least of my personal concerns with Harrison. I feel like he can be effective at 93, 94, but he needs the secondary stuff to step up in a big way. So good for him getting back to the majors. We'll see what the role is. Not, like I said, if he's in the pen, I'm not a fan, but time will tell there. Victor Barracoto, 1 for 15, a double, 3 strikeouts. Quiet week from him. Hunter Bishop went 4 for 20 with a home run, 9 strikeouts, and a stolen base. He's been flashing some power. This was the first kind of week where his strikeouts got out of control. He had cut the strikeout rate down quite a bit, but tough week for him. Aslavis Basabi, 3 for 21 with 5 strikeouts. And then Tristan Beck bounced back from only his second outing where he's even given up earned runs. And he pitched in 2 games this week, 4 innings pitched, no earned runs, only allowed 1 hit, no walks, 5 strikeouts. I'm going to just keep saying he should be in the bullpen in San Francisco. But now they've got 2 starters in the bullpen and kind of 1 reliever in the rotation. So we'll see how that all plays out. Before I jump over to Richmond, for those of you that do enjoy the content, do please hit the subscribe button, hit that like button. We just hit 1,600 subscribers, so appreciate all of you. Thanks for all the support. We love talking ball with you guys. The live shows are always super fun every week. We'll be back at it. I'm going to look at the schedule. Might be Thursday night, might be Friday night. We'll just kind of keep an eye on the schedule and see what day kind of makes the most sense. But thanks again to everybody. We really appreciate you guys. Love you guys. And so moving back over to Richmond, they went 3-3 versus Somerset. They're now 8-19 on the year. Number 1 prospect Bryce Eldridge is back. He's back to raking. He's doing what he does best. No homers this week, but he did go 10 for 25 with 3 doubles, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. Strikeouts are a little bit high. We did see that a little bit in spring. I'm not overly concerned. He's kind of maintained around a 25 to 26.5% strikeout rate at every level since he's been a pro. I expect over the longer term, that's going to be where it settles in. But in the short term, he's probably a bit behind the curve coming in this season after missing some time to injury. So I'm going to factor that in. And it would make sense for why he's off to a little bit of a slow start with the strikeouts. But the power is there. It's almost effortless power. He shot one into the gap. They tried to jam him with a inside fastball, and he ripped a double into the right center field gap. For a guy that's 6'7", to kind of bent arm swing that and still barrel it and hit it that hard is super impressive. And that's kind of why he's a special talent. And we'll just have to kind of wait and see when he's ready, and all that stuff. But super fun to watch. I'm highly recommend anybody that likes to watch the minor leagues, check out Richmond game and get your eyes on that guy because it's fun to watch. Joe Whitman, he was player of the week in Double-A. 6 perfect innings, 6 innings, no earned runs, no hits, no walks, 10 strikeouts, 70 pitches, 47 of them for strikes. Super efficient, pretty good control. He's kind of effectively wild. That's the one thing that, you wonder if it's going to hold him back. We've seen the numbers this season where he's had a couple great starts and then some really rough ones. And it was a lot like that last season, a lot of kind of outhouse or castle, so to speak, with him. And, we'll see. It might eventually put him in the bullpen. But for now, obviously, it's worth it to keep working on his development. I've constantly said he has one of my favorite pitch mixes in the system, probably second favorite behind Hayden Birdsong amongst starting pitching prospects. But, the command is an issue. It was not an issue this last week. Great start out of him. It was really good to see. Hopefully he can build off that. Number 13 prospect, Diego Velasquez, 7 for 23, 2 doubles, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, 2 stolen bases. He had a 13-game hitting streak. It did get snapped on Sunday. But what can I say? Diego rakes. I've said he's one of their most underrated prospects for years now, and I stand by it. I still think he's underrated. The guy just hits, and I think he's going to be a really damn good major leaguer for a long time. Maybe not like all-star or anything like that, but I think you're looking at like a solid starting second baseman in the major leagues eventually. So good for Diego. Hope he keeps it up. Probably does this for another month or so, and we'll really be kind of pounding the table to see him get up to AAA. For the time being, I think he probably needs another 100 or so at bats just for experience, but really solid start to the year for him. Sabine Ceballos, 4 for 18, a double, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. I think that double couldn't have come at a better time for him. He has been in kind of a funk for a couple weeks now. Had to have felt good to get a double on the board. Number 26 prospect, Trent Harris. He did not pitch, and he has no injury designation. So I'm not sure what's going on there. He's a guy I'd love to see get called up to AAA. I've said it many times. He's like my favorite reliever prospect in their system. But yeah, he's not on the 7-day IL, which tells me that it's nothing major if he is dealing with an injury. But also at the same time, it's only a 7-day IL, and then they didn't even pitch him all week. So that makes no sense. But we'll see what happens there. Maybe there just wasn't because usually they don't really care about safe situations and things like that in the minors. They just determine who's going to get work on a certain day and they make sure they throw them. So we'll see what happens, but something to just kind of keep an eye on. Number 28 prospect Jack Choate, 5 innings pitched, no earned runs, 1 hit, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, 76 pitches, 46 for strikes. Main thing with Jack I've noticed is just he needs to get in the zone a bit more. Too many balls, works behind too many hitters. Uh, Other than that, he still has really good stuff. That kind of lazy lower 3/4 arm delivery. Kind of, you can tell the fastball gets a lot of life, especially when he gets it up in the zone. It's like a lot of what you used to see with Jonathan Sanchez, Madison Bumgarner, where they had the kind of the lower delivery and the fastball that had a lot of ride at the top of the zone. You see it with Harrison a lot. He's got a little bit of that, and then he's got a big kind of slurvy breaking ball that does get quite a bit of swing and miss, and he locks up a lot of hitters. He can get a lot of strike threes looking with that. But he had a really solid outing. Jairo Pomares, 5 for 20, a home run, 2 doubles, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, and a stolen base. The strikeouts, similar to Bishop, it was kind of the first week that the strikeouts really climbed on him. But on the whole, he's had a great year. He's got over 400 plate appearances in Double-A. To me, it's time to push him up to Triple-A, but it is a crowded outfield in Sacramento, so we'll see kind of how that works. Adrian Sugastey, 4 for 19, a home run, a double, and a strikeout. And then moving over to Eugene, they went 3-3 versus Everett. They're now 14-13 on the season. Number 4 prospect James Tibbs, third, 3 for 21, a home run, 5 walks, 3 strikeouts. His plate discipline has been phenomenal. Just the overall at-bat quality has been phenomenal. When he's barreled the ball, he's got quite a few extra base hits on the year. And it's just the average is kind of dropping right now. He's not getting a lot of hits to drop, but he is still getting on base. He's still finding ways to help the team. So I don't want to say he's really been a disappointment or bad. He's just kind of been right down the middle somewhere right now. So hopefully he gets it going. He was off to a really hot start, but I love to see that the strikeouts are not an issue for him. That was something that was a big problem in High A last season. He's kept him down this season, so hopefully that stays true. Number 14 prospect Bo Davidson. Now he had a huge week, 10 for 22, a home run, a triple, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. He's another guy that he very well might force a quick promotion. Looking at his numbers now, he's going to turn 23 during the season, about in July, but he's 22, so he's not necessarily old for the level, probably about the same age as most. But he's hitting right now. He's hitting 354 in High A. Now, small sample size, it's 86 plate appearances, but he's kept his strikeout rate at 18.6%. He's got an 8.1% walk rate, which is down from last season. He was up around 14% in San Jose. Hopefully, you'll probably see that get back up over 10% or so, but the reality is he's just raking. And that's, you look at his batting average on balls in play and it's 407. And you go, oh, that's not sustainable. But then you look at last year and he had a 421 batting average on balls in play and A ball, and he's doing it again. The fact that this guy went undrafted is absolutely mind-boggling. I feel like I say it every week. I just don't see how this guy went undrafted. I mean, he genuinely looks like a top 100 prospect. And I'm not sure it'll be this season. I don't know if he'll get the recognition. Usually, pedigree and where you were drafted and all that stuff matters early in a player's career, and the fact that he was an undrafted free agent, publishers are going to hold that against him. It's just the reality. But yeah, I think by the end of this season, you're going to be talking about him like he's the top 5 prospect in the Giants system, maybe like top 3 the way he's going. I mean, it's pretty insane. And he's fun to watch. He plays with so much swag. He plays center field, diving around, sliding for balls, throwing guys out, hitting homers, pimping home runs, when he hits him. I mean, he's just a fun player to watch. So it's cool to see with Bo. Number 23 prospect, Jonah Cox, 6 for 20, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts, and a stolen base. Quinn McDaniel, 5 for 21, 2 home runs, 2 doubles, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Love seeing the strikeouts come down for Quinn. I've said it for a few weeks. It feels like he's just on the brink of a breakout. But, it just hasn't quite materialized for him. But like I said, the strikeout rate, that's really nice to see. He's been about 11% better than league average. Strikeout rate, though, is under 25%. It was over 32.5% last season in high A. So he's taken a step forward there. The walk rate's been about the same year to year, but dropping the strikeout rate by about 8% is huge for him. And then Charlie Zacconi, 5 for 18, a double, a walk, 5 strikeouts. Zane Zielinski, 4 for 20, a walk, and 8 strikeouts. First kind of rough week for him. He went straight to high A, skipped A ball, and he was hitting like 300 for 2 or 3 weeks when he first came over. So I expect there to be a learning curve at some point, but just a quiet week overall for him. And then Shane Rodemacher, 5 innings pitched, no earned runs, 4 hits, no walks, 10 strikeouts. He's probably been their most impressive pitcher in their system. He's 24. He's a bit on the older side for high A. They need to get this guy up to Richmond. It's pretty obvious. He's pitched in 5 games this season. He has 24 innings pitched, 23 strikeouts. He has a 0.38 ERA and a 0.50 WHIP. He has walked 1 batter in 24 innings, and he's riding a 22 inning scoreless streak right now. Just get this guy up to double A. He is showing that he's too good for this level. And I don't care as much about experience in A ball and high A, especially for college players that come over. Because if they come over and they dominate, like, to me, just get them up into the upper levels. That's where they're going to get challenged. So moving over to San Jose, though, 3-3 versus Modesto, 16-11 on the season. Number 6 prospect, Dakota Jordan. He went 7 for 22, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts, and a stolen base. The power hasn't really shown yet for him, but they're working on getting the strikeouts down. They're working on his plate discipline, his swing decisions, and the speed is showing. Like, he's showing the tools. So he's an exciting player. He's a guy that easily could be, a guy you're talking about as a top 100 prospect if he just keeps on the development path he's on. But really exciting to see what he's doing. He's having a great year in San Jose. I think you're going to probably see him in high A before this year is up if he just keeps doing what he's doing. It might be sooner than later. That's another college guy, but he was admittedly more raw than the typical college guy that you see coming out. So we'll see kind of what their plan is for his development. Number 20 prospect, Robert Hipwell, 2 for 10, double, 6 walks, 3 strikeouts. Just hasn't been able to get the bat going, but the 6 walks was a nice sign. Number 22 prospect, Jose Ortiz, he did not play again. He's still on the IL. Number 25 prospect, Jacob Bresnahan, 3 1/3, 3 earned runs, 5 hits, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, 75 pitches, 46 for strikes. Just a command issue with him. He showed last week the glimpse of what he can do with his stuff, but the command's still hit or miss. He's only 19 years old, young player, young for that league. He's got plenty of time to develop, so just be patient with him. Number 29 prospect, Lisbel Diaz, after winning basically player of the week last week, came back down to earth this week, 4 for 26, a triple, a double, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, and 3 stolen bases. Do love that he still found ways to impact the game. The stolen bases are great. Lack of strikeouts is great. So just a quiet week, though, overall with the bat. Jacob Christian, 8 for 20, a triple, 3 doubles, a walk, 6 strikeouts, 2 stolen bases. And I'm going to go on my weekly, get this guy up to Eugene tangent, because I don't know what he needs to show. I mean, the strikeout rate is sub 25%. It's what you want to see out of a power guy. Is he going to probably run into some struggles when he gets to high A, double A, whatever? Yeah, I'm sure he'll have an adjustment period. He's going to strike out a little bit. That's part of his game. He's a big guy, lots of power. those guys are going to strike out some. But the fact that he's got it under, in a reasonable range at 24.5%, and he's hitting for all this power, and he's showing so many good things. He doesn't, it almost never looks just, hopeless at the plate. Like, just, he always looks dialed in. He is just, to me, a steal of a pick in the 5th round last season. And they need to get him up to high A and start challenging him. It's a college guy that is in A ball that is too good for that league. He's hitting over 300, is an over 900 OPS. Just move him up already. Walker Martin, 3 for 21, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. Pretty quiet week for him. Carlos Gutierrez went 3 for 14, 2 walks, a strikeout, and 2 stolen bases. Another guy that he doesn't strike out a ton, usually hits for a pretty high average, kind of a quiet overall week, but love the speed, love the bat to ball skills. Love the defense in the outfield. You can put him in all 3 outfield spots. Really solid player. Xander Darby, 4 for 18, a double, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and 2 stolen bases. Had another couple of good weeks, and then he went hitless for 3 or 4 games at the end of last week. But he's still off to a great start in San Jose. Hopefully he gets that rolling again. Greg Ferrone, he went 4 innings, no earned runs, 3 hits, no walks, 7 strikeouts through 68 pitches, 44 of them for strikes. He's another guy, another college guy. He just turned 23 years old, bit on the older side for the A-ball level. I don't know what else they need to see. Just get him out of A-ball. Like, it's obvious with some of these guys, you just got to start pushing them up a little bit. They're just too good for the levels they're at. And then Jeremy Maldonado, 2 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 3 hits, no walks, 2 strikeouts. Other than that, that's all I have for the minor leagues right now. Let me know in the comments if you guys have any players that I don't really cover, because I do try and keep this to a reasonable length. So I don't cover every single player. I cover mainly the Baseball America Top 100. I like to get the guys that are really standing out as well, that aren't necessarily, Baseball America Top 30 for the Giant system. And I do try and get a lot of guys that are kind of just standing out that I think either are guys that maybe I'm a little bit higher on, or other guys that are, really standing out at that level, or bigger names. But if there's any players you guys are interested in what I've seen, throw it in the comments. I'm always happy to, either add them into the report or do a quick, I'll reply to the comment on, what my thoughts are on the player. But other than that, I appreciate everybody hopping in. I am planning on trying to do a video this week at some point that is kind of which players I think should get promoted. If you listen to this whole thing, you probably just heard like 3 or 4 of them. But yeah, I am planning on doing that video this week. And as I mentioned earlier, we will do the live show sometime in the Thursday, Friday range this week. So appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you next time. Go Giants.